Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast, exclusively brought to you by the Ausmerican Aces. It's Josh, one of your hosts here, and I'm joined online by my best mate, Adsy. How are you, mate?
Going well, mate. I'm going very well. How are you?
I'm good. I missed you. I obviously got to catch up with you a little bit on Sunday, which was nice. Albeit your daughter spewed on my couch and made a mess of it. So it was a bit of it's a bit smelly, the house still, mate.
Yeah, I was sorry about that. And I did a piss poor job at trying to stop her from vomiting. But I tell you what, probably the moment of the year has to go to Kimmy, my beloved partner, because to set the scene, we were both sitting on the couch, Georgie and I, watching. I think we were watching the footy, the Hawthorn game, and she was. You obviously cooked a nice feed, a nice barbecue, and you guys were all sitting around the table whilst I was sitting with Georgie. I've just suddenly grabbed Georgie and gone, Kim, she's throwing up, and I've kind of just stood there and watched Georgie just throw up. She's like thrown up on a bit of my shirt and a bit of my arm, and out of nowhere you just see Kim come running over with her hands and just vomited straight into her hands, and then it just kind of just happened. And obviously when we finished it and whatnot and cleaned everything up, freaking Jado's come over and gone, that's the best thing I've ever seen all year. Kim come over and do that, which was pretty funny. So I am sorry about that. It's we didn't plan for Georgia to go there and vomit on your couch.
No, it was still good to see anyway, mate. Albeit the Kimmy's catch was probably one of the highlights of Jado's year. But you, mate, you on the other hand were so hopeless. I couldn't believe it. Thought you might be a bit better than that.
Yeah, well, the sacrifice that I did with my jumper, I think I threw my jumper out after that because there was that much vomit on it. But it goes to show that, I'm kind of part-time with the fatherhood at the moment because obviously I'm living in Melbourne and Kim and Georgie are up there. That when I get into those situations, I actually don't know what I'm doing. So, it was quite funny. But you're right. It was good to see her. We obviously it was my buy, so I went up to Queensland, and as you said last week, wait for the weather. How good is it going to be? 2 days in a row, I went to the beach in the middle of winter. Cannot even imagine doing that down here in Melbourne. Today's been, I think, 15 degrees, top of 15 degrees. Right now it'd be about 11 degrees. And I didn't put a pair of pants on. I had a hoodie on up there because it got a little bit cold at night. But during the day, mate, just shorts and at the beach and jumping in the water, you just don't get it here in Melbourne.
I saw a few photos of you with your shirt off, which is stock standard from you. Middle of winter.
Oh, well, what do you want me to do when I'm at the beach? I'd leave my shirt on.
Nah, get it off, mate. Get it off for the people to see.
It was quite funny because the talk around the club, we always say, oh, where you going, where you going? Everyone has the same answer. And you would have known, obviously, when you're here at the Bulldogs, going to Noosa or going to the Gold Coast or going up to Brisbane or whatever it may be, because as you said, it's where the heat is and everyone chases that time of year. And that's definitely what we did. But it's also, as you touched on, it's like when I say touched on this last week. It's like, it's a nice little refresher that you get mid-year and not being able to, I guess, have much time off between each week. And the biggest breaks you do get tend to be, the 9-day breaks or the 8-day breaks that you get. You probably get maybe 1 or 2 days off here or there, but to actually have 4 days off in a different state away from footy was really nice. And to be able to go up there with the girls was awesome. And then obviously be able to watch you play, put my feet up and have a nice little red wine with Kimmy was good.
Yeah, it is probably, looking back and being in Melbourne and never spending really a winter up here, apart from maybe the hub year, it's magical, mate. The winters here are just insane. Like every day I walk outside and I'm like, geez, how good is this? Like it gets a bit cooler at night. As you said, you wear a jumper and you still got shorts on, but it's perfect for sleeping because you're not hot and you're not cold. You just have a good night's sleep and then you wake up and the weather is just so nice every single day, no matter what.
No, I agree. One other thing I wanted to mention before we get stuck into the show. Obviously, one of our great mates and obviously one of your housemates, Jaden Shea, he had a nice little interview on the Channel 7 up there in Queensland. I wanted to give that a plug because I said to him on Sunday I'll give it a plug. It was quite funny. He loves his horses, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Jado and Connor McKenna, they go down to Rob Heathcote's stable and it's pretty funny because it's not funny, but he gets up at like 3 o'clock every morning and goes down there and works away. So it's nice of him to get the Channel 7 crew down there and, pump him up like he did. And I think the story was all about Connor, but Jado made a guest appearance, which was ironic because he doesn't mind the spotlight himself.
Oh, it sounds like that. And as you said, it is a pretty big effort for him because he's what's his official role? He's like the property guy, but he does a bit more on the bench and does a bit of or whether you call it coaching or not. But so he gets up at 3 and then has to go to work essentially, and then spend the whole day at work.
Yeah, so he gets up at 3, heads to the stables, and I think he's done by about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then essentially he comes back home, has a quick shower and grabs a coffee, and then heads to training and starts doing all the property stuff. So, yeah, as you said, he's the property manager, but he does a bit of operation stuff. He's on the bench, so he's a bench coach. And he goes across a lot of areas. He'd love that we're talking about him right now. If I'll tell him after this, he'll be that pumped.
Oh, you won't have to tell him because he's a diehard fan, isn't he? Surely on his drive out to training, he puts the podcast on and has a listen
over the speakers, mate. Everyone's playing it out loud.
Yeah, no, I thought I'd give that a mention because I told him I'd give him a little plug. Well, good on you, Jado. But no, we'll get into it. And this is probably the biggest segment of the year that we're going to do right up to this point. The journey to your first time doing the celebration, the A celebration that was spoken about. Finally, you were able to do it. And for what it's worth, it was one of the funniest celebrations I've ever seen because you genuinely look like a gangster. And it was like a last-minute celebration where you were chucking the A up. But, mate, how good?
Yeah, it was good. It took a bit of time, but it's funny because the first set shot that I had, I was thinking about it, and the St Kilda players were actually saying to me, "Oh, get around the podcast," and it just got in my head, and I was like, "Oh no!" So I leant back on it and just didn't hit it right, and it was a bit frustrating. But then the second one, I got a bit of a gimme free kick and managed to put that one through. So I was a bit shaky again, but nice to actually get the celebration out the way.
Yeah, well, it's been a big build-up because just to refresh the minds of our fans that listen, you obviously you promised the celebration about, I've got to say, round 5 or 6 when we started to talk about the fact that you hadn't kicked a goal.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon it was about then because, last year you kicked how many goals? You kicked like 15 goals last year. You had a dominant year in front of goals for a midfielder. Was it more?
19. I think 19.
Oh, well, there you go. Sorry, mate. Don't want to undersell you. You probably did. You actually probably did kick 19. But as I said, you started promising the goal after about round 5 or 6. Right up to round 12, you went goalless. Round 13 is when you actually kicked your goal, and it was that snap. Great snap. You won the ball, handballed it out, handball back to you. You snapped it, and you didn't do the A celebration, and everyone was devastated. You touched on how it actually crossed your mind, but you couldn't because you were getting mobbed by all your teammates, which is fair because, it's a bit hard to do the A when you've got, 17 blokes jumping all over you. Lead up to round 14, obviously, you promised us. You absolutely promised us. You had a shot earlier in the game. Not sure if you were, I don't know, if you were thinking about it, but you don't kick it. Round 14, you obviously don't get a goal. Then round 15 comes and you have your set shot early and you obviously miss. So it's clearly playing on your mind because I've seen that shot a million times over at training and during games that you would never miss a shot. You were probably 40 metres out, didn't kick it well, obviously missed. You're probably on your mind. And then, as you said, get the free kick, 15 metres out. I'm sure you're thinking in the back of your mind, I need to do this A celebration. You go back and you slot it. What a build-up it's been. You finally kick it. How freaking good.
Yeah, it was nice, mate. I'd be lying to say that it wasn't playing on my mind because going through those set shots, I was definitely thinking about it. But I suppose you do think about it because you promised to do it, and I promised to do it myself. So obviously not doing it the first time meant that I had to do it when I kicked the second one. So it was very enjoyable. Even a few of the boys now at training, when we were going through practice and we're doing set shots, they're all like standing on the mark doing the A celebration, like trying to put me off. So yeah, maybe a few of the opposition blokes will be doing the same thing down the track, but we'll see what happens.
When you actually missed the first one, did you think about like what was going through your mind? Were you thinking far out? That was my chance.
Yeah, it was a little bit further out, that one, so disappointed, but thought about the A at quarter time, and then I was like, oh no, I missed that one, so now if I get another one, I've got to do it. So as soon as I got that free kick and I was walking back, I was like, geez, if I don't kick this, I'm in trouble. So, put it through and finally got the A up, which was awesome for the fans.
Exactly. Our Aces fans who've been sending messages about it. Did you think how you were going to do it? Because obviously when you kicked the goal, you did the you actually did the double fist. You did what I love to do, and then you chucked up the Aces. Like, did it actually go through mine? Because it's actually a pretty hard celebration, because it's like, do you just stop there and stand and do it, or do you run like you were? You were like running towards your teammate, chucking the A sign up. And as I said, if there's people out there that don't listen to our potty, they would have thought, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, was it something where you thought, how am I going to actually do this?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a rush of blood because it went through, and I was like, when sometimes when a goal goes through and you just pumped about it, you're that happy. Yeah. So I did the double fist, Adam Treloar tribute, flex first, and then I thought I might as well chuck the A up. So then I just went for the A, and it came off. But Huey McCluggage said to me, he was running towards me, and he was the first guy that I high-fived, and he was like, after the game, he said to me, he's like, oh, I thought I nearly ruined your celebration because I was coming in hot. Like, he was coming in real hot to celebrate with me. And he thought that I was going to put it off, but I luckily just got it straight up, mate. And got it out there. It was beautiful.
I know you probably said it before, but did your teammates know that that's what you were going? That's what the plan was for when you kicked the goal this week in particular. That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. They're keen listeners to the potty, mate. All of my teammates, even Jack Gunson's the only one that's probably like, if you do that celebration, I'm not getting around you.
Well, what was his? So when you did it, did he know that? Did he know about it, or was he like one of those fans thinking, "What the heck's Dunk's doing?"
No. Gunners was like, he knew ages ago, because I think we said it on the potty, and then must have listened to it or somehow got across it, and he knew that I'd be doing it if I kicked the goal. So it was funny because he actually said to me, he was the only guy that said to me, if you do it, I'm not going to celebrate with you. So luckily he wasn't out there on the weekend and didn't have to celebrate with me.
What are the chances of Gunners listening to this and him chucking up an A sign for the Ausmerican Aces when he comes back and kicks a goal?
Well, mate, we got to make a trend of this. You got to do this now, and then it'll keep flowing on, and then we'll get a few of the other boys potentially down the track to get it up too.
Yeah, I'll chuck one up. I just got to practice the A because I don't know if I'd be any good at it.
It's easy, mate.
Yeah, I'll chuck it up. But
that's it.
I might do it a different way. For what it's worth as well, I'm not sure if you've probably rewatched it because you probably want to see yourself. Did you listen to Hodgie, his commentary behind it?
No, I didn't. I actually haven't watched it. I haven't watched it back. I've seen a few of the clips on Instagram and stuff, but I haven't listened to the commentary.
For what it's worth, obviously the A wasn't for me. The A wasn't for ads. It wasn't for Adam. It was for all the Ausmerican Aces fans out there, and our loyal fans that like listening to our potty and obviously message in and know all about it. So firstly, it's about Ausmerican Aces, not about me. Secondly, I haven't been abusing you for 14 weeks because Hodgie said his great mate Adam Treloar's been abusing him to put up the A, so that's why he put up the A. So for what it's worth, I obviously haven't been abusing you. I'll never abuse anybody, and you're definitely if I was to abuse someone, it definitely wouldn't be you because I love you and you know that. So for all the listeners out there, we all know that I definitely wasn't abusing you throughout the year.
Yeah, no, the double flex was for you. That was the one for you, and then the A was for the Aces, mate. I think, we know that, and all our it's just about our listeners and our fans knowing that too.
Yes, no, you're spot on. So there we go. It wasn't about me, Hodgie. Hopefully, Hodgie listens to this as well. He's around. He comes around the footy club still as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He comes around a fair bit. We actually talk about footy stuff, but then the podcast and the media side of things. So it's good. It's good conversation. He actually loves it, mate. He loves our potty, like Roaming Brian did too.
BT, for what it's worth, we've got to give him a massive shout out because he was enormous for us and getting a bit of exposure. He came up to you and. It is pretty funny though, because Tommy, our great mate Tommy, he sent him a message as I think, with about 2 or 3 minutes to go in the game when, that's putting it lightly, but the game was pretty much over with about 5 or 10 minutes to go. And he sent a message to BT, and in our group chat, he obviously the group chat that we have, he'd said, I'm going to word BT up and see what BT does. And BT gave him the thumbs up, and then, There you are, mate. End of the game. You're chatting to him and talking about the potty, so we got to give him a big shout out.
Yeah, it was funny. He came up to me and he's like, "Oh, what was it like the A all about?" Like he would have known because Hodgie said that stuff probably. But it's funny that he actually asked that question. It was a bit of a question for me to then obviously tell everyone out there what it was about. So great for the potty, great for our fans first and foremost. But we love the exposure and we want to keep growing, don't we, mate?
Yeah, we do. And as you just touched on, again, a big thank you to all the fans that messaged in, and it just shows that the support that we have. And I love the fact that, when we got on this little trend of trying to get you to kick a goal and everyone wanting to see you do the celebration, and then when you didn't do it, there were so many fans that messaged in saying, "Come on, Dunks, we need you to do it." So we love the fact that we're able to do that. But maybe I could do one. Maybe I should do one if I kick a goal maybe this week or whenever.
Mate, you got to do it. I've done it now. Like, you've got to do it. I don't have to do it again. You can just you have to do one. And then it'll be beautiful. Everyone else, even we'll get little kids hopefully running around dropping the A sign. That'll be cool.
Okay, well, I promise if I kick a goal this week, I will I'll do it. But there needs to be the right time and the right time and place, because, not that I plan on losing or we plan on losing, but is it fair enough? It has to be, like, put it this way. If you weren't winning on the weekend and you were down by 30 points and you've kicked the goal, you chucking up the A sign?
No, probably not. But if it's early stages in the game, like first, second quarter, I reckon it's play on. But hey, you can do it a little bit more subtly if you want. You don't have to stick it up here. You can just go like this, just next to you.
As I'm walking back watching the replay up on the big screen, I'll just chuck a little there like that.
No, it's got to be straight after.
Yeah, no, okay. Well, I will. I promise you, I'll chuck up an A for kick a snag this week. But we should touch on your game as well. We obviously we've been touched on the celebration, and as I said, it was the main talking point for this week for us, and I love that you've done it. We've moved on from that now, which is great. Your game, obviously. Another prime time game, another great game by yourself. You played Marvel really well, and you came up against a really good side in St Kilda, who they were in it. They were right in it, and for the majority of the game, and right at the very end, obviously you guys ran away with it. But how did you see the game, and how you, I guess, still building from that?
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, probably expected it to be a bit of an arm wrestle for majority of the time. They play a very interesting brand, St Kilda. I feel like they like to get all their numbers back and then rebound from there. So sometimes, like, you feel like you win it from stoppage and you're getting contested ball and things like that, and it's going forward into your forward 50, but then all their numbers are there, so you're kicking it straight to them, and then they can rebound and go the other way. So it was a bit of an arm wrestle, and we probably had a few times where we could have stopped them, but we didn't through a few breakdowns and stuff like that. But I thought overall we went into the game wanting to tick off a few things, and we managed to do that. And, running away, I can't remember how much we won by in the end, but running away winners in a big game for, that, I think it separates us from them 2 wins now. So they were fourth, we were fourth and they were fifth. So it's nice to obviously get that separation and continue on it's a couple of wins in a row now. So nice to obviously get those 2 wins back on the board, and look forward to moving on this week to the Tigers.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about your own game? How did you see that? I mean, you're still playing as consistent as footy as anybody in your side, and I personally think you're probably winning the BNF currently as we speak. So, and that's a non-biased-y. How did you find yourself, and how do you think you went?
Yeah, it was a different game. I think Jack Steele actually came to me a little bit more. So I haven't really been tagged much in the past, but he was coming to me at stoppages. So it was a bit challenging. Obviously, very similar size bodies, I feel, me and Steely, and I've got the utmost respect for him as a player and a person. So to go head to head with him a little bit around the source was pretty good, and I thought I held my own. Probably a few times, just got first possession off the ruck's hands, but didn't get it out quick enough, and I managed to hold it in. But you know what it's like you want to create first possession to clearance and get those numbers up there. So that was probably a little bit disappointing for me. But overall, I thought 2 shots at goal, something that I've been working on post bye or all year really, because I hadn't really kicked many goals. But the offensive side of my game is obviously growing, and it's been nice to start to play consistent footy within the group, because that's what we all aim to do, is be consistent football players. And I think the good players in the comp play well consistently. So that's always something that's in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I still think you're being pretty biased with yourself. You played another really terrific game, and it's great to see, because us Ausmerican Aces fans and as myself as well, we love watching you dominate. So it's great. Another question I just wanted to ask you, winning away from home. Because you spend, obviously, depending on where you go, but if you go to Perth, you usually spend 2 or 3 nights there. But coming to Melbourne, you usually travel the night before, and then obviously play at night, and then leave the next day. After like a really good win interstate, do you even if you just want to give an insight into the fans, like what will you do in terms of celebrating? Will you maybe have a beer in the change room, or we go back to the hotel and sit around and, because it's a hard sport. And at the end of the day, you want to celebrate the little wins along the way. And it's never an easy task coming to Victoria or going anywhere away from your home state, playing against a really good side in St Kilda. What do you tend to do when you have a nice win like that?
Yeah, this week was a little bit different because we have a 6-day break into the Tigers on Thursday. So normal, so say a 7-day break would be, we come in, you win the game. Obviously, the family, they do a really good job at getting all the families and friends in the rooms. So firstly, spending time with your loved ones is the best thing. And, everyone comes out and stands out there and talks to each other, like the coaches, the CEO, the president, everyone's out in the rooms chatting around, which is awesome. I think that little bit of time there is precious, and to celebrate that bit of time with, everyone at the football club, but also your family and friends is just incredible. And I think the club do that really, really well. And then we'll just go into recovery, have a meeting, and then go back to the hotel. And we'll enjoy a quiet beer or two together at the hotel post game if it's a 7-day break or more. So it's nice to be able to do that with the boys, because, although we spend a lot of time together at the footy club, I feel like you don't really get the time like that to celebrate, everything you're currently doing. And, you're not at home. So to be away and doing that is special. I feel like you create some special bonds, and you hear some funny stories too, which is always good. We were actually talking this week. We didn't have the beers, but we were talking about just the hub life, because the Brizzy boys haven't really spent much time in the hubs that we did. So just sharing a few stories there and what it was like, and things that they did to us when we came up to Brizzy. Do you remember that? When we came up to Brizzy and we're in the hub here, and we're almost locked away and couldn't do anything apart from play the game. So it was pretty incredible. That they were blown away by all that kind of stuff. But little things like that, I feel like they're really priceless, and you get to share those connections with the boys.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice little insight, because when players retire and you see a lot of people come and go, especially when you spend a lot of time in the AFL, one thing they always say that they miss a lot is the 15, 20 minutes initially after the game, because it's after the win, obviously after a game, because it's the time you get to celebrate what's been a good performance, and you're sitting there and you're next to your mate who gave it his all and is exhausted as you are, and it's the time that you can really enjoy the fruits of your labour, really, because that's why we play the game. We want to win. So it's a nice little insight. And it was also Fags' birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was funny. Fags' birthday, and I think it was his 150th too. So a bit of a milestone for him. It was nice to get the win for him. But I actually went and a few people know this, because BT actually said it to me on the Roaming Brian as well. But I got him a pair of shoes. He loves those Nike Zoom X's. You know the Zoom X's. Have you tried those shoes?
Yeah, I've seen them. Yep.
So I visited the Nike employee store in South Melbourne there, and I thought I might get Fags a pair of those Nike Zoom X's. So I messaged him what size he was, and he sent back straight away. So got him a pair and wished him happy birthday.
Well, you're just the best, mate. I did read something. I think Lachie Neale did an interview after the game, and they asked him who Teacher's pet was, and he said that he used to be. He isn't anymore. He thinks you are. Do you reckon you are?
No, that's only because I'm new. I actually every time Fags will still spray me, but he doesn't spray Lachie. Never sprays Lachie.
Oh, really? So what? Give it. I don't know, another 8 months, 9 months when you're back for another year, and you won't be the teacher's pet.
No, I don't think so. I think that'll grow out.
It's interesting. But it's good. A big happy birthday to Fags. We celebrate everything here, and you love playing under him. So happy birthday, Fags.
That's it, mate. Happy birthday to Fags.
As I said earlier, I enjoyed being able to watch your game, though. As I said, I was up in Brisbane and went up to the Goldie and went to the beach there and caught up with a couple friends for breakfast on the Gold Coast, and actually went out to a really nice restaurant. Actually don't know what it's called, but I think you and Kaiser might have been there because you both love-hearted it on my socials when I put a photo up. It's that Asian fusion joint in the city. Do you remember? Oh, I don't know. I'm no good with names. I think you were the one who might have, or one of you guys might have. Yes, that's it. Went there, mate. It was a nice little feed. Had a nice red wine with Kimmy, and got to spend some quality time with Georgie, which was great. She's other than the vomiting at your house on the Sunday, she it was great to when I don't see her, she and I see her I hadn't seen her in it'd been like a month and a half. It blows my mind how much she matures, and I can have a genuine conversation with her, which just blows my mind. It's insane, and you'll understand one day, maybe one day soon, who knows? But whenever you have you and Tipsy have a little baby, you'll understand how much it blows your mind. Because the fact that I can actually have a convo with Georgie, and it makes me laugh because I'll try and teach her how to kick a footy, or at the moment try and teach her how to hit like a tennis ball off the racket, and she'll do it, and then she'll try and teach me how to do it. And I'll sit there and I'm like, don't teach me. I know how to do it. But anyway, it was it was a good buy. It was a very good buy. But we'll move on from that. Netball, mate. Netball's done for me, mate. So you're going to be the expert for us. Fill us in on the netball.
Yeah, well, I went up played Friday night. Tipper played, the Thunderbirds played the Swifts on Saturday night. So I travelled up to Sydney the day after we played, and got up there and caught up with Tip before the game, and they played at 7:00. So went to the stadium. My uncle was there. Her mum and brother was there as well. So, and auntie and uncle, I think, too. So, yeah, there was a few in the support crew, and watched the game, mate. It was one of the best games, probably the best game that I've ever seen of netball ever. From the start to the end, I feel like everyone was a little bit nervous at the start. And, everyone was figuring each other out and finding, what would work and what wouldn't. And then a few changes and things just went on in the game. And, at the end, it was 30 seconds to go. For those that didn't watch, 30 seconds to go, and the Thunderbirds were down by 1, and they got it within the 2-point zone, and Lucy missed it, but then they got the rebound. The Swifts got the rebound, threw a long pass across the centre court, interception, and then straight back in for 1 and hit the goal, and it was a draw on the siren. So then extra time, and the Thunderbirds then ran away with it. So they're into the grand final, mate, which is huge. Unbelievable. I was actually getting a little bit emotional at the end there because when you find out you win and you're in a grand final, what it's like, that moment after, figuring out that you're playing in a grand final. It's pretty special. And I feel like, there's obviously one more win to go that they need, but that is just one of the craziest things you could ever think of is, looking back, and, the Thunderbirds had been struggling for quite some time. I think it's been 10 years since they were in the finals and actually won it. So, a lot of them were in tears and enjoying their moments, which was pretty cool to be there and a part of.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was one of the best games of netball that I've watched, and I've watched quite a few in the past few years, and it had you on the edge of your seat for most of the game, and obviously supporting the Thunderbirds, and so was I, and we were riding the wave with Tipper and the game, and there was the ebbs and flows, and being away, that's something you got to can't take lightly. The fact that it was an away game as well for the Thunderbirds, and the Swifts have been the best team all year. It must be, how was Tipper after the game? You obviously would have spent the night with her and then seen her the next day. How was she very chilled? Obviously, I know Tipper quite personally, and she's obviously very chilled and relaxed all the time. Surely she was like, over the moon. Couldn't believe it. Was pinching herself.
Yeah, it was. I think everyone was in the same boat because not one of them, I don't think, had played a final before. So they were all just on edge and they were just that excited about winning and being in a grand final. And yeah, she was up and about. She actually had to get drug tested after the game. So that brought her back down to earth a little bit. So she had to wait around and do that. But it was an awesome moment and she was so excited and I was just so happy for her because she deserves it. She's been, obviously moved away from home and then her and I living apart. She's down there. She has a housemate down there, Courtney, who obviously spends some time with her, but she's majority down there by herself with her team and that's a lot of downtime, in your room or whatever she's doing by herself. So very proud of her, mate. It's a huge achievement, but obviously one more to go.
Yep. And also I'm proud that that was one of my predictions for the weekend. I got that correct. But the other game, obviously, Fever were too good for the Vixens. Who do you think wins between Fever and Swifts?
Oh, it's a big game. I actually think that Fever beat them.
Because it is in New South Wales again. So
yep.
It's going to be obviously a dominant crowd in favour of the Swifts. Yeah, I actually do too because on paper, I think Fever have the best team in the whole league. I think, I legit think with Fowler and Bruce, they're probably the two best bookends in the league, and that's all due respect to all the other players that play that position in the league. But yeah, so they're going to be hard to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if Swifts win though, but it's exciting because once we know who they'll play, it'd be cool preparation for the Thunderbird girls. Are they all watching together? Do you know?
I don't know if they're watching it together, but I do know that they're training together in the afternoon, so they might train and then sit down and watch it together, which would be pretty cool to see who they're playing against. But yeah, it's a normal preparation kind of week for them. They don't want to, obviously having a week off, they want to freshen up a little bit. But I think they're doing match sim on Saturday, so pretty much trying to emulate a normal week, which I think is a great idea. I think that's nice to be able to lead into a grand final, nice and fresh, but also ready to go.
Yeah. Do you like? Because I only knew this on the weekend. I asked Kimmy where the granny is. She said it's in Melbourne. I didn't know it was a mutual stadium. I used to think it was the home team got the granny. Do you like the fact that it's a mutual stadium?
I do. Personally, I do, because then there's no... Well, if the Vixens were in it, then it would be a little bit more like, that could be a bit advantageous or however you say it. But I think it's cool. It's like the MCG being our home ground for the grand final. Like that's something that's always been tradition, and I think they should continue to do that. And obviously the Vic government stepped in and took over the major partnership of Netball Australia. So that's a big one too for them to have the grand final, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, me too. Do you reckon you'll be able to go to the game? Do you know, have you ever checked your schedule?
Yeah, we play West Coast, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work because we play at 1:40, I think it is, on Saturday, and their game's at 7. So whether I make it like at halftime or something, we'll have to wait and see.
Wow, that would be insane. If anyone's going to pull it off, I'm sure it'll be you. But no, well done, Tipper. We're very proud of you here on our potty, and Ausmerican Aces fans are all proud of you. So we'll be able to update next week and wish you all the proper good luck. Our favourite continuous segment that we've been doing, the start bench cut. It's a good one, this one. Do you want to read the names out and positions or position?
Yeah, I'll read it out. It is a good one. I feel like these three players are all really good players for their own teams, respectively. And so we've got Mitch Lewis, Oscar Allen, and Peter Wright. Start bench cut. You go first.
It's a very, very hard one because I rate these three extremely highly and would love to be able to kick them the footy. My start would probably be probably Mitch Lewis. Yep. My bench. See, this is so hard because I feel like I'm just disrespecting one of Oscar or Peter. I'm going to say bench purely because he was one of BNF and was unreal. Peter Wright. and I'm going to cut Oscar Allen. And I rate Oscar Allen that highly. I think he's going to be one of the best forwards in the competition.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to do one different to you. I'm going to go start Mitch Lewis because I think he's a gun. Oh, I think they're all guns. I'm going to bench Oscar Allen and cut Peter Wright. But I do rate all three players. So I just think Mitch Lewis and Oscar Allen together would be pretty cool combination to see.
Yeah, well, they're the kind of the prototype power forward nowadays. It's the one that can get up the ground because they've got great tanks, all three of them. I don't know how they run testing wise, but in game is the most important thing, and they run extremely well, and they've got great hands. And I swear all three have dominated against me. Well, a game that I've been involved in where I'm on that team, all three of them have dominated against me, especially Mitch Lewis this year. And the biggest thing for me that it comes to mind is Mitch. They're all, well, Peter Wright, obviously the Eagles, the Bombers are in the top 8 at the moment, but largely the three of them have done it in teams where they, haven't been the best. Hawthorn are sitting wherever they're sitting and the Eagles are down the bottom, but Oscar Allen's still kicked how many goals this year? He's like 35 goals or something.
It's pretty impressive because you look at them and you think, imagine them in in one of the teams up the ladder, like where they're getting a little bit more supply and things like that. So, it's pretty good to see all those guys going well. Obviously, Peter Wright's been out with his shoulder, but he's back now playing. But last year, obviously, a best and fairest year. So, yeah, they're all really, really good players. And, yeah, as you said, you'd love to be kicking the ball to them most of the time. So, it's great. That's another tough one.
It's good because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of answers. We get some great answers from our fans. Last week was quite funny because I think most of them agreed with what I said, not in the same order, but CD Lamb was obviously one of them. Chris Olave was the other one. They were probably the main two that you start or bench. And OBJ, if you're a realist, you're not starting him over any of those two. And you said start, and one of them, I seen a comment saying CD Lamb going to, prove Dunks wrong or something like that. Did you see that?
I didn't see that comment, but yeah, I was just trying to stir the pot, mate.
It was a CD emoji, and it was a like a lamb, obviously, and it was say Dunks about to, cop something. Like it made me laugh because it just shows our fans and they listen and they send their own in. So I'm keen to see what they send in this week.
It's good. We love it. Moving on, the Ausmerican Aces apparel is coming. So we just wanted to let you all know that it is coming. And then we're going to get some ads and dunk stuff in there too, which would be awesome. And a quick update on the 1,000 5-star ratings. We're currently on 735. So we've got 265 to go before a massive giveaway. So make sure, as we say every week, jump on, rate us 5 stars, and we want to get to 1,000 so then we can give away or do a massive giveaway where, there'll be jumpers, there'll be boots, there'll be everything involved on the Ausmerican Aces platform. So, be sure to hit that up and rate us.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. We're currently on 735 ratings, so we've got 265 to go. It's slowly pegging away, but one thing we haven't touched on this week, and it's quite rude of us because we do this every week for our listeners. We know we love them. We need to touch on our games for this round and a little bit of a preview before we finish the potty. And, we'll talk about your game this week and a big, absolute blockbuster game against Richmond at the Gabba, which is, I know, something you'll be looking forward to because more than likely it'll be a sellout crowd. I believe it's a sellout crowd already. And Richmond are absolutely flying at the moment. And you're getting a team that's, really fighting for a spot in the top 8. You must be excited about, the game, and I'm looking forward to another Thursday night game.
Yeah, we've had a string of games now where it's been, Friday, Thursday, which has been nice. So to play the Tigers on Thursday night, it's going to be a special one for us. Obviously, as you mentioned, they're in great form, and we need to be at our very best, as I say every week. But going to be a sellout crowd, I think. So to come up against them, and we had a bit of a look at them this week, and they haven't really changed their ways much from their premiership years. They still like to play a very similar style, and adding different personnel in there makes it harder to know what they're actually going to do. But The likes of Tim Taranto. I think Jacob Hopper's back this week. Dion Presti is out. So that's a big out, I feel, because he's a very important player to him, Dion Presti. But yeah, all their key pillars are all in there. Dusty's in there. That Shai Bolton is an absolute weapon and dominating the competition these days. So we're going to have to be, as I said, at our very best again. But really looking forward to the challenge as we do every week because, we always say it, but each team as they come, if you're not on your game, they can roll you. So, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, you're right. Richmond always seem to, every time I've just seen a Brisbane-Richmond game at the Gabba, it always seems to be, one, a really close game or an entertaining game for that. And Richmond always seem to play the Gabba really well.
Yep.
As you said, you guys, well and truly have to be on your A game against a team that's, really firing at the moment. How do you reckon you go about combating their midfield? And as you said, Dion Prestia is obviously a big out, but as you touched on, Shai Bolton is as good as anybody in the comp. Dustin Martin looks like his last couple of games has well and truly been back to his best. Trent Cotchin, last game was his big milestone game where he, wound back the clock and played really well. How do you feel like you're going to go at combating that?
Yeah, it'll be a collective approach. I mean, you just reeled off a few names there. They've got obviously a lot of players that can go through the midfield, and so do we. So there'll be certain little things I reckon we'll do to try and expose them. They are a very honest midfield, though. Like we talked about Taranto, or a lot of people are talking about Taranto being the player that he has and putting up the numbers that he is, and he's been pretty good for him and actually going really well. So I feel like I might potentially go to him a little bit, try and, as I talk about every week, spend some time on the best player on the opposition team. So I look forward to that challenge. But just want to play footy, mate, and play our way because that's what has got us to this point. And when we're playing our best footy, I feel like we're playing our style and brand. So looking forward to the challenge.
Obviously, the Thursday night game. Have you played a sellout Gabba game, night game where it's buzzing and Brisbane are flying? Have you played in one of those games yet?
Yeah, I've played, I think, Easter Thursday against the Pies. That was pretty cool. The sellout crowd and the Gabba was rocking because obviously the Pies are a great team and they have a lot of supporters everywhere. So they all turned up and our crowd and our supporters turned up too. So that was pretty cool, that one.
Must give you like an extra spring in your step. And the momentum for you guys coming in must be enormous based off just the energy that the crowd brings for you, and something that I know that you thrive off playing in front of big crowds, and then having that home ground advantage must be something that you, again, look forward to.
Yeah, it is something you look forward to. I probably haven't noticed it as much compared to, I've noticed it more now, being away from Marvel Stadium every week where it's not really a home ground because everyone has that ground, or a majority, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 teams have Marvel Stadium as their home ground. So when you come up against them, it's not a home ground advantage, whereas the Gabba is a genuine home ground. And teams come here and we want teams to come here and fear us because that's what you want to make your home ground, your fortress. And it is special to be able to play in front of the crowd. And to be honest, it's something that I've, just really enjoyed here at Brizzy is the passionate supporters and how much they get around us, not only on game day, but all the time. So I love playing for the Lions first and foremost, but for their supporters too.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's something that I look at from afar, and it'd be pretty cool to have your own stadium, I guess. I obviously experienced that at the Giants, but obviously in terms of the fan base at the time, it was nowhere near what the Brisbane Lions would be. So it's definitely an advantage. I've been well and truly a part of games where it's been a sellout Brisbane crowd, and it is quite intimidating because there's some passionate fans there. But yeah, I look forward to the game, mate. I'll have my feet up, but I'll probably have my pasta because I'll be playing in a couple of days' time instead of a beer. So yeah, look forward to you hopefully putting on another clinic and the Lions getting up.
Yeah, we look forward to it too. What about you, mate? You play the Dockers, who are in good form. They had a really big win last week, and I think from earlier in the year when you played against them, they're probably going a little bit better than what they were then. So how are you seeing that one, and how are you feeling about it?
I reckon you're understated that. I definitely think they're going way better than what they were obviously at the start of the year. We knew that, when we spoke about Freo earlier on in the year, in the weeks that they played you guys and played us, the footy that they're playing now is what we were expecting, and they were just showing that inconsistently, where now they're obviously looks like they're back to, a certain way they want to play, and, that finals footy they played last year is well and truly how they're playing now. And, they've spoken about how, we beat them around the contest last time we played them, that they're going to, want to come and rectify that here in Melbourne. And they've got a good record against us here in Melbourne, and they beat us last year, obviously at Marvel, and then beat us in that final. So they've got a good history against us, and a game that, we need to win. We need to keep building on our season. We're able to go into the bye with a win, which is nice. But, you mentioned, you went 2 games clear of St Kilda. This is an opportunity for us to be able to get more points on the board and keep pegging our way up the ladder, and trying to solidify our spot in the top 8. And we know that if we play the way that we want to play, and the way we've shown in the first half of the year in certain games, that the scoreboard will look after itself and we able to win those games. So really looking forward to it. When you're away from it for a week, you enjoy the break, but when you watch the game, you get a little bit envious over the weekend, and you want to, you feel like you want to be out there. So yeah, really looking forward to it. It's obviously an interstate team coming here, so we're looking. You talk about playing in front of a good crowd. I'm really looking forward to our Bulldogs fans getting out there and supporting us on, a 145 game, which I don't think I've played yet this year. I believe the boys have played, but I was injured, so I love the Saturday 145 time slot, because you've still got the late afternoon, and you go out for dinner and whatnot on the Saturday night instead of getting home and staying up till 3 a.m. because it's a night game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be a beauty, but yeah, hopefully we can win.
So we're expecting the old 30-3 from Adam Treloar this weekend.
If I'm doing that, I'm happy. But as long as there's a win next to it, and I'll chuck the A up.
Yes, you got to remember to do that.
Yeah, for the Ausmerican Aces fans, or maybe I can fit a D in there somewhere as well for you. Actually, you used to celebrate like that with the one hand, so maybe if I keep going, I'll celebrate like that, and then I'll chuck the A up. Should be good. But yeah, I reckon it'll come to me, the celebration, as I'm, hopefully the goal's a nice goal, and I can just come to me and just let it be authentic, mate, and see how it goes.
I look forward to seeing it. I think everyone else out there too, all our fans will love seeing that. So there you go. You heard it here first. Adsy's going to do the celebration, so we look forward to that.
Yes, I look forward to it. Is there anything else you want to talk about prior to us wrapping up, mate?
It's all good, mate. It was a good week. Good to see you, and just looking forward to the weekend's games, and hopefully catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, I agree. It's been a great week. So good luck this week, mate. Once again, thanks to all our listeners. Make sure you jump on to the Ads and Dunks podcast on the Ausmerican Aces channel. Make sure you support us. Get those comments in, those ratings in, because we've only got 265 to go, as I mentioned. So we're going to have a big giveaway. Keep looking out and then supporting us. As Dunks touched on earlier, we've got some merch coming soon as well. So we love the support that we get week in, week out. Thank you all very much. Good luck this week, Dunks. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully get another win and you dominate.
Thanks, mate. You too.